Hello, everyone. We are back to our isolation series, looking at ideas and reflections from what we've learned from isolation, really. Now, the latest edition is self-awareness. Self-awareness effectively means being able to track what you do, being able to gauge progress, and knowing effectively how your day has panned out and what the next day is going to be like. It's interesting that throughout this isolation period, we're told to be absolutely aware what you touch, who you go near, who you meet. It's something which is actually a very Jewish concept in terms of gauging progress and knowing what you're doing. It's very interesting. There is an amazing pianist and composer in America called A.B. Rottenberg. He's composed some Jewish classics. Many of you will be familiar of his name and certain songs he's composed. And at one point, the story goes that someone walked in on him after he'd returned from work, and he was sitting there playing the piano. And the problem was that this piece didn't sound like anything familiar. It certainly wasn't, someone who played in the past. It wasn't something that people knew, and it wasn't a new recording either. And the person, as you and I would say, went up to him and said, "A.B., what are you doing? What are you playing?" And he turned around and said, "I'm playing my day." In other words, he was so musically adept and musically in tune, without the pun, that he got home and he played his day. He played how he felt from beginning of the day to end, the ups and the downs, the emotions, because he was able to log and convert into music how his day went, which is phenomenal. Now, of course, we're not musicians, at least I'm not. We may not be able to play our day, but one of the remarkable elements of that is to be able to know at the end of the day, what did I do today? My self-awareness. What did I achieve today? Where was I going today? How did that day fit into the general bigger picture? There's a book called the Mesilas Yesharim, written by the Ramchal, Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto. At the beginning, he says that the root of everything, the root of any progress, the root of serving Hashem, is having a goal and breaking that up into bite-sized parts to know how the little things in life we do fits that goal. That's effectively self-awareness. We talk about three spheres. If there's something else that coronavirus has taught us, it's probably these three spheres. There's the sphere of myself, in other words, how I relate to myself, my self-awareness, my self-notion, my self-concept. Then I've got the expression of that to others. That's probably in marriage is the first port of call, then family. And then I've got the further expression of that into community. But the first element of those three concentric circles is self-awareness, is how I relate to myself, my self-image, who am I, how I look at myself. That's all part of that. So I guess we're not all going to play our days, but certainly to be aware of our days is an important and certainly crucial element and thing. The truth is, it's part of who we are as people. It's not only a Jewish thing, it's part of what we would call the Tzuras Ha'adam, just basic awareness as to what a person is, who you are, your qualities, and therefore what I do each and every day and how that day pans out. There's probably a basic element of self-awareness, something that we may be lacking a little bit without heading towards negativity. There's certain stories that rabbis love to tell. I think there's certain stories that, I don't know, I'm not sure if you're a rabbi if you don't tell it. I know when I was growing up, there were certain presents that everyone used to get for their bar mitzvahs. There were certain books, of course. We can't mention or endorse officially specific books because I don't get the royalties, but certain books that people would give for their people's bar mitzvahs. It's almost like you weren't bar mitzvah if you didn't get that book. I had a friend who got 13 copies of a certain book for their bar mitzvah, right? And you can imagine meeting those people that you gave that gave you that gift. So how was it? It was great, etc. I happened to sell 12 of them, but I'm sure it was great. Anyway, nevertheless, that what happened was, this is the rabbi story, or one of. There is a violinist called Joshua Bell, and the Washington Post placed him on the subway, New York subway, and asked him to play a concert piece that he'd filled the symphony hall a couple of nights ago, with a violin which was heavily insured and heavily expensive, to see what would happen. And as many of us know, and it's worth seeing the video online, by the way, people, when they walk past this person, didn't know it was Joshua Bell, people didn't stop, people carried on. The vast majority of people didn't acknowledge him, even though he was playing the same music he played in a concert. Brilliant music, but again, they just walked past. I think, I'm not sure the exact total, but he got a derisory sum. He put out a hat, he got a derisory sum, because that's part of self-awareness, is knowing who's around. Is knowing what people are doing, not in a scary sense, but just in an awareness sense, and being able to see those opportunities. I think that is a coronavirus message. In other words, be aware of oneself, be aware of what one's day is like, have a general goal, keep to it, and increase the awareness of what I do in life in a general sense. So hopefully, we should all be well, we should all keep well, and we should all be increasingly aware of our various actions and, of course, the impact of those actions as well.